Hi everybody! So I'm making this video because I have some thoughts and I can make a video because it's 2016 and I can do this. So I'm going to do it. So these thoughts have been inspired by what has been happening recently in America. Yeah, so here goes. So okay, have you ever heard the saying, there's nothing as powerful as an idea whose time has come? I believe that, right? And I also believe that there's nothing as dangerous as an idea whose time has ended. There's nothing as dangerous as an idea whose time has ended. And I think that a lot of times we have ideas not because like we're evil or anything like that. We just have the idea because this is just what we think, or we were raised to think this way, and yeah, and it's normal. So I guess I just like to offer a different perspective, a different idea. So the first idea is something that you can see in different ways, in many different varieties, in many communities and in many situations all over the world. But in this particular case, it has to do with basically the idea that Black people should act a certain way, or do a certain thing, or not do a certain thing, or not act a certain way, or stop killing each other, or do something before it is that, you know, they are deserving of respect and justice. And it's a really what's the word? It's a really tantalizing idea, I guess, because you can look at something and you can see, well, it looks bad, you know, you can turn up your nose at it. But something that I've learned or come to really accept, not just know intellectually, but come to really accept, is that anything that you've ever in the past considered to be wrong, the more, well, for me at least, this is just my opinion, right? I don't know everything, but the more that you come to learn about life and just, you know, life in general, then you'll just come to see how it's not necessarily wrong, basically, which I think most people encounter at some point in time in their lives. So yeah, so that idea, the different varieties of it that I've seen that I can speak to are, for example, when people say women shouldn't dress a certain way because then they should sort of, nobody says they should expect to get raped, but I think maybe I've even heard someone say something like that before. I've heard someone say about Dwayne Jones, a transsexual individual who was killed some years ago in Jamaica, you know, he shouldn't have done that. You know, you should expect that if you're going to dress up as a woman and dance with a man in Jamaica, that you should be killed. And like I said, these excuses or this reasoning is very tantalizing. It makes so much sense logically in our brains because we think that action, reaction, it's natural. But here's what I think as an idea to counter that idea. And here's why I think that idea is so dangerous. No one can ever deserve respect. There's nothing that any human being can do that will ever make them deserving of respect outside of simply being a human being. And the reason why I say that is because if there is some criteria, then somebody somewhere is going to be excluded. If it's the way you dress, if it's the way you speak, if it's the way you walk, somebody somewhere is going to be excluded. I think human beings are just worthy of respect just by virtue of being human beings. I used to do this too. I used to think this way too. You know, I used to think, and I think that I think that a lot of people in general project their own inferiority and issues onto Black Americans, and I'm saying Black Americans specifically because I'm including myself. I'm including Caribbean people who we do look down on Black Americans. We think that they're ghetto. We think that they're trashy and they're, ratchet, and we think that way. We think that way about them, and so it's really complicated, obviously. But the main point that I'm trying to make is that simply by virtue of existing, it doesn't matter if the person is a criminal, it doesn't matter if the person has done wrong in the past, it doesn't matter what the person is wearing, it doesn't matter what the person looks like, it doesn't matter how they're speaking to you, it doesn't matter if they're giving you attitude, it doesn't matter if they appear threatening. Obviously, all these things matter in terms of how you're going to address someone, but it doesn't matter in terms of whether or not this person is deserving of basic human rights. And that's what the issue really boils down to. I think many people the world over look down on Black Americans, and it's true, and it's uncomfortable, but it's something that we have to acknowledge. We look down on them, and we say we think that rap is ugly and stupid, and we think that the women are crazy, and and we make fun of them, we laugh at them, we laugh at the way they talk, we laugh at the way they dress, we laugh at the hairstyles, and it doesn't take away from how they should be treated. How a person behaves, how a person dresses, doesn't take away from their deservedness of justice and of not being killed. Like, that's it. That's what it boils down to. And a lot of people also use this argument with rape and sexual assault. Why is the person dressing like that? Why did this person do that? When we start to look at these things, it just clouds the point. That's not to say that we don't live in communities and your actions don't have consequences. But to me, I genuinely believe this. I genuinely believe that nothing that a person does can take away from the fact that they should be treated humanely. Nothing. I don't believe that if somebody rapes a child that you should castrate them. I don't believe that. I don't believe it. And I've had this conversation, this argument with many people, especially in Jamaica. But I just don't think so. I don't think that if somebody rapes or does something awful, that they should be treated in an inhumane manner, So that's just my personal belief. So when I see people saying these things and making justifications, it seems to me to be a very dangerous idea. Because like I said, if there is a single criteria for exclusion from being treated humanely, then somebody somewhere will always find a way to apply. Always. There will always be someone who fits that criteria. There will always be someone you can treat inhumanely. And I don't believe anybody should be treated inhumanely. So that's the first idea. And the second idea, people, you already know that this video is going to be long and rambly, right? This is Danielle Thomas we're talking about. So let's just move on past that fact. Second idea is that, okay, so, I'm trying to find the right words to say this because I don't want to say this in the wrong way. And you see, because I don't have that much experience with this one, I think I might say something that's insensitive and preachy and condescending, but just roll with me, all right? I ain't perfect. So let's move on. Let's pull through this together. Keep strong. All right. So the second idea is that one cannot, or one should care about everything in the world. What's that? All right, let's keep going. All right, so basically, you know, like, all right, it's, to me, when people say all lives matter, if somebody says Black Lives Matter and then someone says all lives matter, it's detracting, right? Similarly, when someone says, you know, this is what's happening, or I feel passionately about this, and then someone else, or okay, there's a difference between, oh my gosh, this is so, okay, to me, in my opinion, there is a difference between caring about something and being passionate about something and reacting to another tragedy with your own tragedy. That, the second thing, to me, is a bad idea, keeping with the theme of dangerous ideas. And I think this is just my own looking out from the outside. I think the reason why it happens is because people can't see how powerful they are. You know, you feel like you are disadvantaged and you don't have a voice. And so when somebody says, for example, Black Lives Matter, then you say, well, in response, well, all lives matter. Or when somebody says, pray for Paris, you say in response, well, pray for Kenya. And like I said, I know that some people are going to say that this sounds insensitive, but here's the thing. We all have power. Everybody has a voice. Everybody. And I feel like people just don't get this. Like, people are always waiting for somebody else to say, to start a hashtag or to talk about something. But you can. Everybody can. Everybody can. Everybody can. This is something I'm really passionate about. Like, I have all the power in the world. I have all the power in the world, and every single person has all the power in the world. You know, there's no reason to use one tragedy to point out that, oh, but you know, all along this was happening in Jamaica and nobody cared. Who says nobody cared? Who? That's not true. It's just not true. It's not factual. People do care. You know, people care. People do care. And yes, come. And you can speak. You can speak about anything you desire. You can be passionate about anything you're passionate about. You can be sad about anything you're sad about. And one tragedy is not compassion isn't a competition. Yeah. There are no points. It's not a point system, you know? You can care about everything. You can care about nothing. It's not a competition, right? So those are the two things that I wanted to talk about. And that's it. Bye.